by Deborah Loughran of the Newry Chamber of Trade. It's Commerce and Trade, isn't it?
Commerce and Trade,
yeah,
it is indeed.
I do it alphabetically and I can remind myself there.
You're
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you.
Things are going well in the Chamber. You've had your special conference. You're heading towards your annual general meeting. And most importantly, you're heading towards Thursday, the 4th of December, for the Newry Christmas Business Dinner.
Yes, we are indeed, and it's all go at the minute. The conference that we held last week was the inaugural Northern Ireland Small Business Conference,
Yes.
which was fantastically attended, and it's one of those things where when
You were hosting it, is that right?
Yes, we were indeed.
And where did they come from?
All over now, mostly in and around the greater Newry area, but we had got representatives from Belfast and from a bit further afield, which was good to see. And we had a brilliant range of speakers and workshops, and the feedback was fantastic. And I suppose it was looking at the makeup of the businesses in this general region, and most of them are small to medium size
and
enterprises.
what were the issues being covered within the agenda?
Well, the idea was how to win more business was the strapline on it, which is really central, absolutely central in it. But within that, we looked at PR, marketing, online, finance, HR, tendering, and all the different ideas that are all the different mechanisms that make up a good business. And then we had a couple of really inspirational speakers.
Who had you got?
Well, we had a guy, Potter Canavan from Singularity, and basically he built up a software company in Derry and sold it for 30 million to an American company. Trick. And you know, he was just such a down-to-earth guy, and he really resonated with the audience, and people thought, goodness, you know, if he can do something like that, I can. And he was very inspirational.
Have we a number of businesses in this area that could, if they so chose, to go along that road? Have we the potential to do singularities?
Well, why not? You know, he told a story about where he couldn't find suitably qualified staff, and he ended up hiring a postman, because he said, if somebody's good, they're good. And you just have to train them in your particular business. And he ended up with 2 Indian guys as well, 2 Indian graduates, and then they went over and set up in India for him, and he ended up with 100 people working in India for him. But he said that financed him to be able to employ 120 people in Derry, because he said of the differences between the...
Isn't it wonderful once you take off the blinkers and see that the world is... the furthest place in the world is not more than 24 hours away. You can do anything. Well,
he said his place in India was 11 hours flight away. Now, most people, that would scare them, saying, how am I going to manage people 11 hours away? But he said he was initially employing 5 people in Jalalabad, I think it was, in India. And he said that because he was employing 5 people there, he got a full day with the permanent secretary, who just gave him undivided attention. He said he stepped out for half an hour, and he asked him what meeting he went to, and he says, I had to go and meet the president of Iran. And he said, sure enough, in the hotel that night, he saw him on television meeting the president of Iran. He said that was the importance. Well, that was the importance that was put on the fact that he was creating these jobs, and then he was committed to that place. And that's something we need to look at here. We need, when we have business commitments, we need our politicians to really get behind that and to really support us, and we do get a fair amount of that.
But I mean, do we find that relevant politicians who can press the buttons and make the finances flow if we need developmental capital, if we need political angels in some kind of governmental halo to look after us? But is it the case that the great swathe of politicians, they're better out of it because they have no business acumen at all and can be a hindrance?
Well, I think it's like anything. There's some who are and some who aren't. And, we have some very good political representatives who represent us at a business level. I think if we're looking at locally here, we don't get a lot of that foreign direct investment they're talking about. If you look at our biggest businesses here, they're all indigenous. They're all people who have set up here locally and have a commitment to this area. Your Norbrook, First Derivatives, MJM,
but First Derivatives
all of those
and Norbrook and
organisations.
MJM, they're reaching out to, they may be here, they may be indigenous, but their kind of, their area of operation is anywhere on the planet.
Absolutely, but they could be based anywhere on the planet.
Absolutely,
but they choose here, and that's the important thing. And we need to keep those people there, but we also need to keep those people here, but we also need to look at how we can attract people in to feel part of the Newry way and the and the Newry way of doing business, because you know, we have a fantastic business spirit here.
Absolutely.
And if you look at, you know, people help each other, and they've got an entrepreneurial spirit, and people will encourage others. And you know, if somebody comes to us in the chamber looking for business help and support, we're very able quickly to point them to, well, you need to see this person about this and this person about that, and that's the type of thing that creates a business community.
What's exciting at the moment in chamber? What's the big thing that's moving for you?
Well, I suppose you're always looking at what your members want and what your members need. And I suppose, you know, one of the big things that we've been looking at the minute is the out-of-town development at Carnbean. And
that hasn't gone away.
No, it hasn't. And you know quite a bit about it. And I think it's important to let people know that, I suppose there's been a lot of talk back and forward about, you know, whether people want it or not, or this, that and the other. And do you know, at the end of the day, Rowan, it's not about that. It's about the precedent that this sets for this area. Because if you look at it,
well, if it goes ahead, almost you don't forget to switch off the lights when you leave the city centre.
Well, if you look at that, well, from a purely planning perspective, because you know, this is not about a supermarket or a particular developer or about politics. This is about planning, and this is an area that's zoned for industrial use.
Yes.
Now, the minute you allow retail on industrial use, and our council are going to get these powers next year of planning, and it is going to be up to them to manage this. If you look at every other industrial area on the outskirts of this city, it's going to be up for grabs for retail. Yeah. Because the precedent has been set.
But I mean,
out there.
Can that precedent be set if it is zoned for industry? Or how do they get round the notion of putting retail in a place that is legally zoned for industry?
That's the question that we're asking, and we asked the minister.
No answer to that.
We asked the minister now. Well, the minister had made a commitment to town centre first
he did,
in his own policy.
Yeah,
his own policy.
Yeah.
But this is land that isn't even zoned for retail, which is retail.
And throw a
has been allowed to go
stone, you know. I don't like the metaphor of throwing a stone, but if you get a model aeroplane made of paper and throw it like that, it ends up in the five ways.
Yeah, well, if
so why was it so coming so close? It's a nonsense.
Well, it's not even that, but I look at going, you know, what's going to happen at Sheepridge, what's going to happen at Clog Roundabout, you know, those places. The retailers, there's a lot of retailers here in Newry which have a tie to Newry, have a commitment, maybe own a building here. But there's an awful lot of our high street retailers who it's all about the commercial elements, and you can't blame them. But in that respect, they're going to be looking and saying, well, you know, why should I be in the heart of Newry city centre when my competitor is out there having a free reign, you know, lesser rates, free parking, easier ride, and why not ship my operations up to Clog? And then you've got a big gaping hole in the city centre, and that's the thing that people perhaps don't think about. You know, people immediately look at and go, oh, well, it's job creation and that. But there's only such a big pie. If you look at it, none of our supermarkets now, because we have a good spread of supermarkets and a good selection of supermarkets.
Absolutely.
You know, I am sure none of them are stuffed to breaking point. I'm sure none of them are really full.
Not.
There's only so many people to go around, and the idea of the big weekly shop in all the statistics is changing, and people are shopping more often and less. And you know, it's that type of thing that's changing, and it's harder to get people. And it's
the drive for this is coming not from any kind of community well-being awareness. I think it's developer profit. That's it at the end of the day. It's a business for the developer. He says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make X amount of money, and that's it. There's no philanthropy in there.
But really, why not? If a developer owns a piece of land, he's going to say that it's up to our planning system to be robust enough to say you are not allowed this here, or you are allowed this here. Well,
there's no other way of putting it.
And the problem is
he's gone back in his own policy.
Well, the only option open is a judicial review, but a judicial review is so costly that now there are a lot of business people here who are willing, who see the value in this.
But you are going for it.
Well, yes, but the problem with that is that's money that's coming out of our local economy. That's money that's not going to sponsorship, or not going into jobs, or not going into to other things that these business people do in the community every day of the week.
I know. I'm looking at the clock because we're racing. We're 15 minutes talking now. Can you believe that?
My
almost?
goodness, my
You're
goodness.
going to have to come back again.
I will indeed, but just very quickly, I suppose.
Oh, we're not rushed. We have 4 minutes left.
Okay. I suppose the big thing for us is, on a much more positive note, is the Christmas charity
business
dinner.
This year's dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's on the Thursday the 4th of
Thursday, the
December.
4th of December, and obviously we have the Santa Run, and charities are being contacted at the minute.
And we want businesses to take tables.
We do.
Come.
We absolutely do.
Make it the beginning of your Christmas.
Well, this is the exciting bit as well. Is we reckon if our predictions are correct, we should be heading towards breaking the £1 million mark this year. So very excited for that to be under my tenure. So
I know that your charities will be sitting waiting.
Absolutely.
St. Vincent de Paul,
the Salvation Army, the hospice, any amount of charities,
support.
and a few new ones this year as well, which is good to
good stuff.
To vary it as well.
And we'll remind people again, Thursday the 4th of December.
It is indeed.
And whether you're a business or whether you're a private individual, a family, a group of friends, get a table. We'll take a table here. I'll make sure we get a table.
Make sure you're on the list.
In Destination Newry.
Yeah, and sometimes just very quickly, sometimes people think you have to be invited to this. It's absolutely not. It's open to anybody. The Santa Run in particular, we're trying to spread that out beyond businesses as well, and to make it open to primary schools and to organisations, anybody who basically wants to raise money for the particular charities that are involved.
Well, we're starting to talk about it now. Jack talked about it earlier with me, Jack Murphy. You're talking about it now. We'll start really banging the drum for it. Yeah. Where does time go? It's a year since it was there last.
Well, it's only, I think, just over 4 or 5 weeks to the event. So
my goodness,
it just comes round very, very quickly.
4 or 5 weeks.
Did Jack mention our fire walk that we're doing with another hat on for Children Crossfire?
He did.
That's on Friday night up in Slieve Gullion.
For goodness sake.
I know. Going to toast our toes.
Toast our toes. Are you doing it as well?
I'm doing it as well, yes.
We want to hear about this.
Yes.
So we'll talk afterwards. We'll get you in next week to talk about firewalking.
Yes.
And tell us what it was like.
Well, indeed.
You and Jack.
Yes. And if people come along, it's completely free. You can make a donation to Children Crossfire. If they want to come along from 7:30 to 9 at Slieve Gullion Courtyard on Friday night.
Friday night. Bring some money with you for Children in Crossfire, Richard Moore's great charity. Deborah Loughran, Newry Chamber of Commerce and Trade.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much indeed. Good luck on Friday night. We're saying farewell to you across the planet just now, but